It's hard to really tell. I mean, we know that what we do doesn't change anything on the ground. We are fully aware. Yeah, we do a performance. I mean, does it stop the bullets and the bombs and the atrocities? It doesn't, of course. But what we hope it does, that it opens like a little bit of window of hope, actually, at least for both of us. And I do like personally believe that hope is contagious. That and if you have the luxury of being hopeful and being optimistic, so might as well spread it as much as you can. Um, the performance, for example, without revealing too much about the performance, because I like people to see it and to make their own stories based on what they see. Of course, we had to update the like for example, in part of the performance, there is a count of all the people who lost their lives in the past 10 years in Syria due to the conflict. And the sad reality is that we had to update that number continuously from the premiere date back in 2013 all the way till today. And I mean, all the stories that we're trying to portray within this performance, this is all inspired by true events. Yes, we're trying to recreate something magical and something inspiring, but at the end of the day, the reality is incredibly dark, and it continues to be dark. Everybody has been defeated in Syria. Regardless of where you stand on the political, on which side politically you stand on, everybody is defeated. The country has lost incredible resources, but most importantly, I mean, the numbers are clear. Half of the Syrian population have been displaced, whether displaced in the country or refugees in other countries. We're talking about hundreds of thousands, if not a million, people who were killed. So in the face of all of this, I mean, what we do is a tiny little contribution in the face of ugliness, if you want. How does it impact us? It continues to impact me personally every time we perform it. There's a part of the performance where I go to the screen and I play to the screen, and then there are buildings that come out of my clarinet. And the reality is, every time I get to that point in the performance, I get moved because I believe it. I believe it that I'm actually rebuilding the country by just producing few sounds on my clarinet. So that's how this project has been impacting me personally. And for me also, doing this performance is a really remarkable way of remembering. I think especially 10 years after, with a political situation that is so fast moving, people tend to forget and tend to let go of things. And for me, I need to fuel my anger, and I need to fuel my emotions, but also I need to refuel my hope. And by doing this, I think where I'm trying to get to that.
There's one important element that I need to mention. Kinan and I, we come from very different backgrounds, even though we're both Syrians. And my ancestors came to Syria 100 years ago as refugees. And when I hear in the news what's happening in Syrians, they're kind of forcefully kind of been moved from their homes and they can't go back to their homes. I think about how our ancestors kind of went through that. So in my mind, when I create those lines, when I create those images, I think about these two layers. Kind of the history is repeating itself, unfortunately, but at the same time, I need to contribute with my lines to the Syrian people because they kind of welcomed us 100 years ago, and we felt that Syria was home for us. And we kept our languages and culture and religion and neighborhood, and we never thought this is going to happen. And of course, every time I hear what's happening in the news, and when we're doing the next performance, those lines were getting affected by whatever I was hearing from my friends and in news and all that. So I think this idea of like Kinan, where he comes from, and me, where I come from, when we bring it together in the performance, it gives a bigger image for us to kind of share it with the Western audience of what's happening in Syria and what's happening in the Middle East.